The stranded beluga whale, which had earlier been lifted from the waters of the River Seine, has been put down by experts during its transportation to a saltwater basin on the Normandy coast. Well, for more on this story, I'm joined here in the studio by France 24's reporter Luke Shrago. Luke, first of all, what more do we know about this rescue operation that sadly ended in some rather tragic news?
Well, this operation lasted long into the night. It really only got going around about 10 p.m. And they finally managed to remove the beluga from the lock where it had been stuck for around about a week. They used what they called a hammock. It was sort of an extremely large fishing net suspended from a crane to try and lift it out of the lock onto this barge, where they floated it further down the river and then transferred it to a truck. There was no direct access by road to the area where it was stuck, so it was already promising to be an extremely difficult bit of logistics to accomplish. Now, there were already concerns as well. This whale was extremely underweight. It was only about 800 kilos, which is about 400 short of the 1,200 kilos that they normally weigh. It had been refusing food for pretty much all of the time it was there. It hadn't been eating. They tried to give it fish and it had refused. They did manage to give it a course of antibiotics and vitamins, and it seemed to be doing somewhat better. Now, that led to some hope that things might come out quite well, that they were going to be able to transfer it, and they thought it was worth the risk, despite the poor state that this beluga was in. They wanted to transfer it to Ouistreham in Normandy, to another saltwater lock there, because, as you may know, that these creatures cannot survive for long in the warm, fresh water of the Seine River. So they would have given them 2 to 3 days to examine it, to see that it was doing okay, if there were any other issues that they might have been able to help, and the hope was that they were going to be able to release it at sea. Now, on the way, as it was being transferred by truck, the veterinarians that were looking after it, they said that it was visibly distressed. It was in respiratory distress, and it wasn't getting enough oxygen, with no digestive activity either. They said that because it was unable to breathe, the humane thing to do, sadly, was to have to put the creature down. Now, really, not that much is known about the circumstances as to why the creature was there. NGOs that we spoke to at the time, they said that they suspect noise pollution. Now, we've seen an uptick in maritime traffic, and indeed all up and down the French coast, the construction of wind farms for energy. Now, these are very noisy, and creatures like beluga, they rely on sonar to navigate, and they are badly confused by the noise that travels for extremely long distances underwater. Not just that, they can be actively harmed as well. There can be visible signs of biological damage that can be done. Now, it's thought this whale, because we've seen situations like this before, it may have lost its way. We've seen other things as well, or simply have been trying to escape the sound. What seems likely is that there's going to have to be some kind of examination of the remains to determine whether or not there were any underlying health issues as to whether it could have been saved or not.
Okay, Luke Shrago, our reporter, thank you very much.